Hello everyone. The topic is data structures in compilation. So normally in C language, we have data structures like stacks, queues, etc. In the same way, in our compiler design also, we have some data structures. So what are they? Let's see. The compilers do not rely on any explicit data structures like trees, stacks, or queues to efficiently perform the compilation task. They are constructed as a set of functions which are directly called by the parser. So, the data structures, how we are using in the compilation, they are being constructed by a set of functions which are being called by the parser. So, in this, we have three main types of data structure. The first one is symbol table, and the next one is literal table, and the third one is parse tree. Apart from that, we have a syntax tree also. So let me explain you. So coming to the symbol table, a symbol table is an important data structure created and maintained by compilers in order to store information about the occurrence of various entities such as variable names, function names, objects, classes, interfaces, etc. So what it means? A symbol table stores all these values. So symbol table stores the variable names, function names, objects, classes, interfaces. And a symbol table is a data structure used by a language translator such as a compiler or interpreter, where each identifier in a program source code is associated with information relating to its declaration or appearance in the source, such as its type, scope level, and sometimes its location. So what it means? In symbol table, we are storing this variable names, function names, object classes, interfaces, etc. So along with that, it also stores its type, its scope level, and sometimes its location also. And so the symbol table is used to store information about various entities such as objects, classes, variable names, functions, etc. And this symbol table is used in both analysis phase and synthesis phase. So this analysis phase is also called as a front end, and synthesis phase is also called as back end. And in analysis phase, we have like these phases like a lexical analyzer, syntax analyzer, semantic analyzer, and intermediate code generator. Whereas in backend, we have intermediate code generator, code optimizer, and code generator. So in both analysis and synthesis phase, we are having intermediate code generator. So it means that intermediate code generator acts as a bridge between the analysis phase and synthesis phase. It means it acts as an intermediate between the analysis phase and synthesis phase. And the symbol table is being used for some purposes like it is used to store the name of all entities in the structured form at one place. So whatever the entities we have, it stores in a structured format. And it is used to verify if a variable has been declared, and it is used to determine the scope of a name. It is used to implement type checking by verifying assignments and expressions in the source code are semantically correct or not. So symbol table will perform the type checking operation also. It means the data types are being checked whether they are semantically correct or not. And a symbol table can either be a linear table or a hash table. So it maintains the entry for each name as, so in this format, the attributes are being stored in the symbol table like symbol name, type, and attribute. So here we have considered an example like static int salary. So the symbol table stores the entry in this format. Okay. So static is our symbol name, int is the type, and salary is the attribute. And symbol table information is used by the analysis phase as well as synthesis phase. So in both the phases, the symbol table information is being used. To verify that the used identifiers have been defined or declared. So whether the identifiers which we are using in the programs are being declared or not can be checked in the symbol table. And to generate intermediate or target code. It is used by compilers to remember the information like identifiers appearing in the source language program. So whatever the identifiers which we are using in the source program, so that can be checked by using the symbol table. And it is used in the semantic analysis, code generation, and code optimization and error detection. So the information in the symbol table data structure will be as in this format, like name, its data type, location, a scope, and other attributes. Okay. And so the example is taken here like int x comma y, float, and the message and some other message. Again we are declaring the variables like int a comma b. So in symbol table manager, this is stored in this format like serial name, a name, its data type, and the location. Okay. So here we are using two values like x and y. So in name we have taken x and y, and that data type is being declared as int. So we have considered the data type as int, and location where this is being stored, that is also being written in this symbol table. And next, so the features of this symbol table. So it performs some operations like lookup, insert, modify, and delete. A lookup is nothing but in the symbol table it will check whether the operations are being there or not. It will look. If any of them are not there, it will insert them by using the insert operation. And if is there any need to modify, then by using modify operation it is going to modify them, and by using the delete operation we can delete the operations from the symbol table. So along with this, we have some issues in symbol table. So that is, first one is format. So in which format the information should be stored? So that is the issue. And next one is the access method. So by which search method we should access? Like we are having many search methods like binary search, linear search. By using which method we should access? And next one is location of storage. Where to store this data. Okay. And the next one is scope. Scope is nothing but how long the data can be used. These are the issues in our symbol table design. And the next one is our literal table. So literal table is also a data structure which is used in the compiler. It maintains the details of the constraints and the strings used in the program. So whatever the constraints or strings which we are using in the source program, that is being stored in the literal table. It reduces the size of the program in memory, allowing reuse of constraints and strings. So the constraints and strings whatever we are using, those can be reused here. Okay. And next, it is also needed by the code generator to construct symbolic addresses for the literals. So here it will be stored in this format. So here we are taking the literal value as 60. So 60 comes under the category of constant, and the attribute value is integer, and it is storing in the memory location, some 1200 location we have allotted here. So in this way, in the literal table, your values are being stored. And next one is the parse tree. So parse tree is dynamically allocated pointer based structure. Okay. So it describes the syntactic structure of input. In parse tree, the terminal nodes represent the tokens and interior nodes represent the expression. So here whatever the terminal nodes are there, those are the tokens, and the interior nodes will represent the expression. So if we take an example, you will get a clear idea. In parse tree, nodes are variant type records storing information for different types of data. Parse trees are constructed from bottom up. Okay. So here we have considered an example like E produces E plus T or E minus T or T. T produces T star F or F. F produces A or E. Okay. So here the A may be a number or variable, and here you need to construct the parse tree and you need to check this expression like 4 plus 2 into 3. Okay. So here we are I have constructed the parse tree. So first we have taken E, and for E there are three expressions, E plus T or E minus T or T. So I have considered E plus T. And for E again we have, so E again we have again E plus T, E minus T or T. So I have opted for T. So I have written here T. Okay. And now for this T. So T produces T star F or F. So I have taken T star F. T star F. Now, so here T. So again T has T star F or F. I have taken F, that is F. Okay. So now again here T. So here T I have used the value of F. For F, already here F produces A or E. So there we have taken. Now let's check the expression. So here it should satisfy like 4 plus 2 into 3. So here check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we got 4. And plus, we are having the plus addition operator, and next 2. Okay. 1, 2. And next star. Okay. And next one is 3. So the tokens are nothing but the terminal nodes. So it has been satisfied the expression 4 plus 2 into 3. Okay, this is our parse tree. Based on the given grammar, we are going to construct the parse tree. And next one is abstract syntax tree or syntax tree. The syntactic structure is also represented by using syntax tree. So we can represent by using parse tree as well as syntax tree also. And a syntax tree is the compressed representation of parse tree. So parse tree, we have constructed the parse tree, no? So the compressed representation of the parse tree is called as the syntax tree. Only the operators and tokens are being shown in this syntax tree. So this is the syntax tree. In syntax tree, operators appears as interior nodes and operands for this operator as their children. Okay. So the expression we have taken as 4 plus 2 into 3. So operators will appear as interior nodes. Okay. So we have considered here the addition operator. To this we have taken 4 and star, and star we have taken 2 into 3. That means first 2 into 3 is being performed. The answer what we get, that is being added with the 4. Okay. So syntax tree is nothing but the compressed version of parse tree.